So I'm going to turn it over to one of our council members to introduce the school. I'm going to turn over to Council Member Gada Amin. Gada?
Yes.
Are you ready to make your opening comments and introduce the school, PS 30?
Yes. Yes, good evening, everyone. Tonight we are holding our meeting at PSIS 30, the Mary White Ovington School. Even though I am not able to attend in person today, I'm very happy that our CEC meeting is with the school tonight, as they have a large Arab population and Arabic learning program. To begin the meeting, I am going to introduce two representatives from the school who are going to say a few words. Parent Coordinator Rana Abu Sabih and Community Associate Ilham Atmani. Please go ahead, please. You are muting. Stephen, you are muting. Everyone's muting.
If we unmute that one.
Shall I come to you?
Does everybody hear me okay? Wonderful. I was saying, Ms. Bada, I would love to see your face. It's been a long time since Ilham and I saw you at PS 102. I want to welcome everybody here to PSIS 30. My name is Rana Abuske. I am the parent coordinator here. I'd like to introduce my co-captain, Ilham Atmani. She is our parent liaison.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. And it's a great pleasure to have the first in-person CEC meeting in our school. It's an honor to us, and welcome everybody.
I would like to say a special hello and welcome to our PTA board, Desiree and Lorna, who are here with us tonight, and to everyone I know from the community. Ms. Ellen, it's nice to see you. I want to say how impressed I am with the CEC and the fact that they already have a full meeting set up with translators and hybrid at this point in the year. I have such respect for that. It is very hard to run a hybrid meeting, to make people who are in the room feel part of what's happening on the computer and part of the people who are at home, to make them feel heard and that they can actually hear what we're saying. So I really do appreciate that. And I want to say thank you, not just as a member of the school staff here, but as a parent in the community, because you represent us, and I have such appreciation for who you are. Both Ilham and I grew into our positions by being volunteers in our schools. We were volunteers for many years, both in other schools and in this one. Ilham even has children here at school. So we want to thank you not only as staff, but also as parents in the community. We really respect what you do, and we're honored to have you here with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we are very pleased to be here, and we really appreciate the great hospitality that you've shown and Principal Hiraman has shown. Next, I'm going to go over the agenda for this evening. Steve Weiser, can you share your screen for the agenda? And members of the council who are in the room, and anyone who wants to pick up a copy at the front, the agenda is a one-page document that looks like this. So the first order of business will just be approval of the August calendar meeting minutes. We've just had the opening remarks We'll then have Superintendent Dr. Preto share his report. A few comments from myself as council president. We're going to do a very quick introduction of one minor CEC 20 bylaw amendment. Then we're going to have the public speaking session. And then we're going to have a discussion and a vote on the COVID-19 mandate resolution and a discussion and vote on the middle school and high school admission reforms resolution. And both of those resolutions are linked on the website. All you have to do is go to the website and look at the first pop-up that shows, and you can review those there. Okay. And I just want to acknowledge a few, we always like to try to acknowledge guests who are with us tonight. Of course, in addition to Dr. Preto, as I mentioned, we're also joined by Family Leadership Coordinator Bill Chin, Family Support Coordinator Sylvia Jasinski, Sean McLean from the district office, Barbara Freeman, I see, has also joined us online. Donovan Swanson from the Borough President's Office is here. Sergey Chuprik from the Controller Lander's office is here. And I apologize if I missed anyone, but we thank you all for joining us. Okay. So now we'll have Dr. Preto, if he's ready, to give his report.
I'm just going to share my screen so everybody can see it. Okay. Good evening, District 20 Council, President Stowe, and all guests. I'm really excited to be in person with you as well and to be able to kick off the 22-23 school year with you all. So I'm just prepared a brief report. So I'll just go over a brief agenda. First, I'll introduce the expanded District 20 team. Part of the Chancellor's reorganization of the DOE involved the expansion of district teams. So today I'm happy to be able to introduce the expanded district team, and a few of the members are here in person. I'll review the Chancellor's goals for the year and then share an overview, not an exhaustive list, but an overview of our district goals and priorities. I'll share some important dates, events, and reminders, and then follow up with a concern shared by several council members at the August meeting regarding safety in the community, and our follow-up at the district, and pieces that we put in place so far to support those concerns, both with NYPD as well as here at District 20. So first, I've included a flow chart of the expanded District 20 team, and I think the first thing that jumps out to me is that Dr. Blackburn, who is the Deputy Chancellor for School Leadership, just has more letters in his name, so it appears a little bit smaller. I think that's the only reason why my name looks bigger. But we've been able to take on a number of team members, and I'm really excited today to be able to introduce them. A few of them are in person. So first, a familiar face from the team is Deputy Superintendent Dr. Joseph O'Brien, who continues on with the team, and really appreciate all the work that Dr. O'Brien is doing with the team. And reporting directly to Dr. O'Brien is Field Support Liaison Sean McLean, Family Leadership Coordinator Bill Chin, and Family Support Coordinator Sylvia Jasinski. Also on the team is who worked with us last year and has worked with District 20 for several years in the capacity of both Director of Multilingual Learners and English Language Learners, so Dr. Lucia Perez Medina. Really excited to have Dr. Medina on the team. And Dr. Medina's workflow includes the supervision and support of our 4 compliance and performance specialists. So on the team, we now have Mr. Daniel Castro, Mr. Ronnie Rodriguez, and 2 vacancies in the position of compliance and performance specialist for multilingual learners and English language learners. We're anticipating for these vacancies to be filled very quickly. And at the next meeting, I intend to be able to share who the 2 additional team members are, who will be supporting the district and the formerly Brooklyn South districts in compliance and performance specialty, which primarily regards the work of ensuring compliance of English language learner programs and multilingual learner programs for students who are entitled to them by law. Also, in the area of multilingual learners and English language learners, our services administrator, Seher Saeed, who's here with us today, and Seher's role is more of an instructional coaching role within the area of multilingual learners and English language learners. So I'm really excited to have this workflow with us, especially addressing such a key need and demographic of our district, which is a high percentage of multilingual learners and English language learners, and really excited to be able to have the support to continue to support them. And finally, our new Executive Director of School Support and Operations, Ms. Laura Kaiser, who's also here with us today. Thanks, Laura, for being here. And in Laura's workflow is the direct supervision of several people. So I'll start with our district instructional specialists. These are instructional coaches. So we have first Dr. Hector Uribe, who's also with us here today. Dr. Uribe, thanks for being here. And we also have Jamie Rasper, Heather Darabegian, and Tracy McCarthy-Knorr. So all of these coaches will be supporting District 20 this year. Our Administrator of Special Education is Valerie Valentine, who has previously supported District 20 schools in her same role with the Borough Citywide Office in Brooklyn South, and is now continuing to support District 20 schools in the District 20 office. We have a Student Services Manager, Russell Lieberman, who will support with school climate, wellness, culture, as well as safety-related measures. So we're happy to have Russell on the team. And we also have 2 AIS coordinators. AIS stands for Academic Intervention Services, and we're really happy to have Michael Feldman and Silvana Ferrara. Silvana's here with us today as well, so thanks for being here, but really happy to have both Michael and Silvana on the team to support schools in their direct supports of the implementation of systems for primarily Tier 2 and Tier 3 supports of students in schools. Finally, we have 2 academic policy performance and assessment specialists, or we call them APAs. So we have Joseph Iacano and Samantha Barrett. And Joe and Samantha will support all schools in a variety of places regarding programming, testing, and ensuring that academic policy is followed in all district schools. We have a special ed specialized student support lead. They're also called triple SLs. So our triple SL is Karen Thomas, and that role is a instructional coach who specializes with students with disabilities. So that we're happy to have Karen on the team. We have a social worker who will work directly in the district office. Really excited to have Lauren Tacconi as our District 20 social worker, and Lauren's work will involve supporting social workers in the district, as well as supporting a number of initiatives that are connected to school climate and wellness. So really excited to have Lauren on the team. And finally, we have Anthony Carano, who will support wellness programs through the Office of School Wellness. So that will include school climate and wellness pieces, specifically within physical education and other components. So we're really excited to have Anthony on the team. And then obviously my administrative assistant, Michelle Way, supports me as well as the entire team in an administrative assistant role. And this constitutes the expanded District 20 team. So we're really excited, and in future meetings, I intend to demonstrate alignment between district priorities and how the folks in the district team are supporting our schools and our students within their roles, as well as aligned to district priorities. Next, I want to share the Chancellor's big goals for this year. Chancellor Banks, in his summer address, stated his goals for us in all districts across the school system. So first, for all students to learn to read well, to be physically and emotionally safe, to have a high quality academic experience, graduate with a strong plan and pathway to economic security, for families to be able to easily access information and support from New York City schools and be empowered to help their children succeed, and for the New York City school system to reflect the diversity of the city it serves. Using Chancellor Banks's big goals, and the information from my year and a half in the district, as well as other information, we've drafted out a set of district-wide priorities and initiatives. And we've organized these so far into 4 larger themes of community engagement, district planning and development, school climate and wellness, and finally, social, emotional, equitable academic learning. And this was known last year as the SEAL theory of action, which was a theory of action from the district in order to improve student outcomes across all of our schools. And we have this year, based on our experience implementing the SEAL theory of action, have woven in the focus on equitable outcomes for kids into the SEAL theory of action based off of our school experience of focusing on CRSE and the use of the HRL framework in ensuring that all students' identities are celebrated, valued, lifted, and reflected in the school's curriculum, instruction, and school experiences, which was our focus last year. So we've, in order to ensure that we continue that work and deepen it, to ensure that our diverse student and family population are represented, valued, celebrated, and leveraged in the classroom, we've folded those in together for that work. And underneath each, I've just named a few high priority components of the district plan. It starts up at the top with, I'll start with community engagement, starts with the listening tour. I will embark on a listening tour across the district, and I'll share the dates of the first 3 events, which will happen next week. But the purpose of the listening tour is to be able to get to all different parts of the district over the course of the year, to be able to share our plan and priorities and outcomes as the year progresses, and also provide an opportunity to hear feedback from the community and ideas and suggestions about how we can either revise, modify, or add to the plan. So that's the intent behind the listening tour. And I've scheduled a series of events that are district-wide, and also plan to meet with all PTAs over the course of the year. And I met with the President's Council last week to share my goal of, by the end of the year, meeting with every PTA across District 20 at least once, and in a variety of capacities, but mainly to be able to make sure that the district plan is something that that folks are aware of, and that I'm able to take feedback, suggestions for revisions, modifications, additions to the district plan based off of the feedback from PTAs, and be able to directly connect with school communities. The district mission and vision is some work that we have begun to explore at the end of last year with the district leadership team, and will continue to do so, and utilize my listening tour of district-wide events as well as individual school communities to be able to inform the development of the mission and vision, as well as our partnership with all of our members of the district leadership team representing CEC, PTAs, the U of T, CSA, and our school communities, parents, and DC 37. And then finally, the DOE has introduced some new apps that will support communication with students, with families, and to, in general, support the record keeping and communication methods of schools a little bit easier. So this year we'll focus on 2 of those to really support some district priorities and make sure that we're able to integrate those, and they dovetail nicely with the grand majority of our schools utilizing the Grades app, and really trying to leverage the messaging app to be able to communicate directly with families by sending push notifications and other communications to make sure that school-based and district-based, and the chancellor will be using it, I'm sure, as a system-wide method for being able to immediately communicate with families. The Nixa account information is going to be the account that the messaging app will pull from to contact families. I'm proud of our work, especially with Sylvia's work with parent coordinators and Bill's work with families. We've been able to have one of the highest percentages in the city in terms of families signed up for Nixa accounts, but we continue to work with all of our schools to be able to close that gap to get to 100%. But we've done a really good job in the district. Families have done a great job, and schools have done a great job getting families signed up. So that information, to be current as possible, is a high priority in order to be able to leverage the messaging app. So more to come on that, but that's something that we're really looking to leverage this year to be able to communicate with families in the community. Within the area of district planning and development, we have based off of our feedback and conversations and experiences last year, as well as the return from remote learning and the impact on District 20 programs, we're definitely beginning some work in the district around the examination of accelerated programming in the district. We're also continuing our work to ensure specialized program, particularly programs that are serving students with disabilities in a wide variety of arenas and service delivery methods, are high quality, that children are receiving them as mandated, and that we're ensuring that that children are receiving what they need, and schools are equipped to be able to regularly monitor the progress of that service delivery and make modifications where it's required and necessary. The deployment and alignment of our expanded district team to the district priorities, that's definitely a key priority for us this year. I'm really excited to have the expanded team, and we really want to make sure that these really vital human resources are connected to your schools, to your families, to your students, and making sure that we're supporting the development of all. We continue to explore the expansion of bilingual programs in the district. This has been a high priority and definitely something that is a need in the district. So we'll continue to explore the expansion of these really important programs. And then finally, begin the conversations around the new schools that have already begun construction in some places and are slated to open in 2024. So we'll begin to start exploring the development of those new schools in this coming year. Within the areas of school climate and wellness, we have 3 definite areas where we'll be focusing on based off of our preliminary look at data. Chronic absenteeism is a priority of the DOE, and making sure that students are attending school every day. We need to be there in order to be able to take advantage and learn and grow and develop. So really examining attendance and specifically chronic absenteeism is going to be a focus and priority of our district. We will be looking into bullying and the fair application of discipline in schools, making sure that our systems for discipline are fair and appropriate, as well as exploring what has been a growing concern across all school communities in all districts across the country, bullying. So we're really looking to develop a district-wide approach and support for that. And then finally, stemming from our work within the DESA screener, which was piloted last year and will continue this year, looking at the district results within the identified areas for growth of optimistic thinking and goal-directed behavior. So these are some of our priorities in terms of looking at how we can work with schools and utilize our district team and other resources to be able to develop. And then finally, the SEAL theory of action, which is really the central focus of the team at school. It really directly targets social, emotional, and academic learning, the work that we're doing in classrooms as with students, directly with teachers, support staff, and principals. This year, we're going to focus on the use of protocols in the classroom, structures that ensure that when we say that all students are engaged in a task or being connected to something, that it truly means that all students are engaged in meaningfully in tasks. We've focused on the implementation of the advanced literacies hallmarks and the historically responsive literacy framework from our work from Cultivating Genius. So we'll continue to leverage that work, but using the focus on using protocols to ensure that all children are engaged. All means all. We'll be engaging in the practice of instructional rounds. Instructional rounds is an approach where, similar to medical rounds, where a group of educators will identify a problem of practice and then visit classrooms across school communities to observe the implementation of professional development, to examine where some potential supports, or also to be able to give feedback to communities on the progress towards goals. So instructional rounds will be a structure that we'll utilize this year in the district to be able to support the implementation of ever improving instruction. This year, we're also very excited to be a district-wide partner with the Civics for All Office and Initiative, and we're very excited about this. And one of our key priorities within the Civics for All office is a public speaking platform called Soapbox NYC. So this year, our goal is for every single school and all students to be able to have access to Soapbox NYC. It is a public speaking platform that is based off of the development of speeches where students identify topics of local interest and concern and develop a speech taking a position and delivering their speech to their peers and otherwise. So Soapbox NYC is something that we're very, very excited about, and it's definitely a high priority in the district, and we'll definitely continue to share information about Soapbox. This year, we're really taking a hard look at our instruction in math. This was not something that we spoke about a lot last year, but this year we'll definitely be looking at our instruction and our outcomes in math as well as ELA, and looking at how we're supporting schools in math practices and making sure that we're improving outcomes in math for all students. Our STEAM initiative this year, we will once again leverage our STEAM structure of STEAM coaches and STEAM leads in the district, supporting each other to engage students in STEAM. However, we have also, in consultation with CEC, we will be operating both a math and a science Olympiad this year. So students will have the opportunity to engage in both a math and science Olympiad this year. We have been communicating with the organizations who operate the Math and Science Olympiads, and we're on. I'll be sharing more information about the details around what that will look like for students to be able to find out more about it, and for it to be woven into the year. But this year, we're doing it. We're definitely having a Math and Science Olympiad. We're excited about it. And then finally, early childhood literacy. We will continue to focus in on the implementation of foundational literacy programs in all of our schools, and supporting our teachers and principals in ensuring that all of our young people continue to have access to foundational literacy programs and be able to, learn how to read at these critical ages. So it's not an exhaustive list, but these are some of the big priorities that we will be jumping out to immediately this year. I've listed a long list of important dates, but there were a lot. So first, tomorrow, September 15th, is the first day of Hispanic Heritage Month. Tomorrow is also the first elementary school fall parent conferences. This is for impacted schools only. Not all schools will hold fall conferences, so your school should have communicated with you if your school is holding a fall conference, which is typically a back to school night, meet the teacher structure. But I did put impacted schools there because not all schools hold them, but it is on the DOE calendar. September 17th is Constitution Day, and my office is going to be sending out resources to principals to select if they like, to be able to engage students from pre-K to 8 in activities that support the kind of understanding around the development of the United States Constitution. This is a part of Civics for All. On September 20th, our office will be partnering with the District 21 office for a Healthy Homes webinar series with families. Sylvia and Bill will have sent out information to our schools regarding the Healthy Home webinar series, but the first webinar is September 20th. September 21st is the first date of my State of District 20 listening tour. This will be held at the PS 503-506 campus at 6 p.m. On September 22nd is the middle school fall parent conferences for impacted schools. September 24th it's a Saturday. It's the ceremony celebrating the renaming of IS 201 Diker Heights renaming it to the Madeline Brennan School. Really excited about that. We have no school on the 26th and 27th. Excuse me. On September 28th is my second State of the District listening tour at the CL Academy, PSIS 180. September 29th are our Title I District Parent Advisory Council elections, which will be conducted virtually and remotely. September 30th is our District 20 District Leadership Team meeting, which has been rescheduled from the original date of September 13th. October 5th is Yom Kippur, schools are closed. And October 6th is the third and final fall State of the District listening tour at PS 204 Vince Lombardi. And finally, on October 10th is Italian American Heritage / Indigenous Peoples Day. School is closed on that day. And finally, just on Monday, September 19th, which is coming up, begins the assessment window for our academic screeners. We will continue to use iReady for math in grades K to 8 and in reading from grades 3 to 8, while we will continue to use the Acadience academic screener in grades K to 2. And then finally, I wanted to follow up from the council's concerns regarding safety in the community. We did meet with all of the heads or representatives of the 4 precincts that serve District 20, the 6-2, 6-6, 6-8, and 7-2 precincts, as well as my team, our Borough Safety Director from the Office of Safety and Youth Development, and representatives from the School Safety Division. Some of the concerns that we discussed were some concerns in the community traveling to and from school, including 2 specific spots, but also in general, the school community. We discussed concerns that had been coming up from council members and other community members regarding the proliferation of vaping with and without marijuana products, as well as marijuana products that are seeming to be appearing in the community. And we shared these concerns with the precinct commanders, school safety, and our safety director to find information around how we can address these pieces collaboratively, as well as information around how these concerns can be communicated most effectively to NYPD. So first with the safety concerns, all the precinct commanders really urged the reporting of all incidents through either the 311 or 911 app. They said that those were the best methods for quickly escalating concerns. 311 for non-crimes, things that are concerns in the community, and they reminded me or told me that in 311 online you can include pictures of things that are concerning in the community, and 311 is something that is there that all precincts are held accountable to, and is a requirement to be able to ensure that non-crimes are being addressed. So that was the one that they really urged me to communicate to the community to leverage and utilize for non-crimes, and then to utilize 911 for crimes. I included here harassment of children because I did share that there was concerns in the community that families and children traveling to and from school had either been harassed or otherwise, or there was the fear or potential of being harassed. They shared that that harassment of children or other folks especially traveling to and from school, but anytime is a crime, and to definitely leverage the 911 platform to report those. The NYPD keeps data on all of these things, particularly hate crimes was something that they shared, and I know that that was something that was a concern in the community. The numbers for hate crimes were low in the precincts using their CompStat data. However, something that they shared was that the data only goes in for things that are reported. So that was something that they really urged community members to do, was to ensure to leverage the 311 and 911 platforms to ensure that incidents are being recorded and reported so that resources can be organized and utilized to address the concerns that are actually happening on the ground. They also shared that every precinct has sectors, and within each sector there is somebody called a neighborhood community officer who is assigned to those sectors, the NCOs, and those folks are able to be contacted. Their email addresses are located on every precinct's website, and you can reach out directly to these folks to connect around community concerns. However, they did let me know that if there is a crime being committed or something that is immediately urgent, to call 911 rather than reaching out to the neighborhood community officer. There are also youth community officers. These are what were formerly known as safety teams, school teams. Every precinct would have a group of officers who work directly with schools, and they continue to do so. All the precinct commanders assured me that during the September month, all of their school teams would be directly connecting with principals in every school to be able to directly liaise with principals. By the end of the month, all schools, and many of our principals already have like very strong working relationships with their precincts. So the school is definitely a place that has direct ties to NYPD and can support folks if they're having a hard time getting connected. And finally, they really urged us to leverage the school safety agents, who are also a direct contact to be able to address concerns, particularly those that obviously occur in the school. So just to review for reporting, because again, the emphasis was placed on really making sure that all these different avenues were leveraged in order to ensure that things are being reported, was to leverage school safety in schools, as well as principals, and then 311 for non-crimes, 911 for crimes. All right, and that concludes my report. I'm going to stop my share.
Thanks, David. That was a lot of information, obviously. One question about sharing all this information. Is the district at some point going to have a website where a lot of this stuff can get posted?
Great question. Yes, we have a website. One of the
You're both muted. Steve, both of you are muted right now, so I can't hear what Dr. Prado is saying. There we go.
Thanks, Steve. So we've currently developed a beta version of our website. A lot of the information that I've shared today will be posted on the website, and it will go live very shortly. So we've got the back end set up, and we're about to send it out live very soon.
So in the immediate future, if anyone has questions, wants to contact one of these new staff resources, just go through Bill and Sylvia for now?
That's right.
Okay. Jen?
Thank you. Can everyone hear me, or should I unmute? Okay. So I just have a couple of questions about these schools that are opening in 2024. Is one of them going to be a middle school, and are there any new specialized schools being planned for the future?
So we have one middle school that's opening and two elementary schools so far. Those are confirmed, and in like the ground has broken in a couple of them. In terms of planning any specialized programs, both the Angel Guardian site and the Nathan site are slotted for District 75 seats. So there will be District 75 programs located in both sites, as well as the leased site at the Our Lady of Guadalupe site will also be a standalone District 75 site for middle school students. So in terms of specialized programs, there was a high priority on ensuring that we close the seat deficit for middle school students in District 75 who reside in District 20. So when all of those sites open, we project to have no seat deficit for District 75 students who reside in District 20, both in elementary and middle school.
That would be great. I have just one more question. So in the early literacy program, I know that there's sort of been an ongoing debate about sight words versus phonics. Will there be a little bit more phonics being taught going forward, or are we going to stick with what we've been doing?
The chancellor has been very clear about taking a science of reading approach in early literacy. So all of our schools will be utilizing a foundational literacy program that includes phonics phonemic awareness for our children in K-2. And that will be, as there are some schools leveraging new programs, as well as having support in our expanded district team to support that specific area, as well as a couple of our schools receiving support at the school level to support that work. It's definitely high priority, and so short answer is yes. We'll be focusing on definitely phonics and phonemic awareness in our early literacy programs in all schools.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Questions from any other council members for superintendent? Yeah, Maya, go ahead. Unmute, yeah.
I'll speak into the screen. I saw the all the things that you plan to develop, and definitely I see that you listen to us, and it actually means a lot. To me, I don't want to talk about everyone, but I just felt like you listened last year, and I'm very thankful for that. So one of the things that you mentioned there is math education, and you listed it as a separate item, which I think is great and very timely. Anything in particular, any details developed yet? Anything that you have in mind for that item? Thank you.
Not yet. I will definitely share more details on the work that we're going to be doing in math instruction this year. But I did delineate the work in math instruction from the Math and Science Olympiad because the work that we'll be doing with math instruction in the district will be across the entire district, whereas the Math and Science Olympiad will be opportunities for children, but not all children are going to participate in the Olympiads. They're not designed that way.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions from council members? Superintendent Prado? Thanks very much, David. As always. And we will now, I'm just attending to a couple of issues here. I've been made aware that the sign-up sheet for public speaking is not enabled. I'm going to fix that right now. So bear with me, everyone. I'm sorry for the delay here. Sign-up sheet. Okay. This will just take 1 minute. Okay. The speaker sign-up sheet for members, people attending the meeting online should be enabled to accept responses at this point. And if not, Steve, please let me know. Great, thanks, it's working. So I just wanted to share a couple things. One is that we've, there's been a number of meetings going on, a number of announcements, obviously, with the beginning of the school year. And one that I thought was very exciting was the announcement Monday from the chancellor. And this is high school Actually, I'm just reminded, I just saw Councilmember Aviles join us, so I'm going to hold my comments because we have City Council Member Alexa Aviles, who just rejoined the meeting, and I've given her, we're welcome to have her say a few words right now. So let me just get her to unmute.
Audio isn't connected yet, Steve.
Here we go. Swear Zoom changes. It looks like she's trying to enter the meeting. So I'm just trying to get Councilmember Alexa Aviles enabled to speak here. Let me find her. Okay,
Hi,
there
hi.
she is.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Councilmember, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can't hear you right now.
Can't hear me. How about now? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I think there's something, it says.
Yes, we can hear you.
So folks online, Councilmember Aviles, can you hear me? None of us in the room can hear her, right? Councilmember Aviles, maybe one of our members thinks it might be the headphones that's preventing people in the room from hearing you. Are you able to speak without the headphones?
Steve, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Steve. Steve Weezer, I can hear you. I definitely cannot hear the council member.
We can't hear anyone.
And my volume is up, my volume's on. It looks like just the people on the, okay. No problem. We'll wait for you to connect. I'll just say a few of my comments in the meantime. So there was an announcement Monday that Chancellor Banks and Mayor Adams spoke about the one of their career initiatives, and this involves high school, but I do think it's worth mentioning here. And I've spoken to or emailed at least with our high school, a couple of our high school principals about it, which is the this public-private partnership to promote career readiness and a youth apprenticeship program. It has an abbreviation CRMYA. It's part of the Student Pathways Initiative. It's targeting 3,000 high school students at 50 plus schools, placing kids in apprenticeships in finance, business, technology, healthcare. It has some great partners with New York City Jobs CEO Council, JP Morgan, Accenture, CareerWise New York, Robinhood, Bloomberg Philanthropies. And I just think this is great to highlight because it does reflect the chancellor. This is a big priority of his and the mayor's. And at one of our high schools I was just emailing with, they've actually, part of this program is referred to as Future Ready NYC, and they are starting to plan for it at FDR High School here in District 20. And it's really exciting because this is the kind of stuff that helps kids understand why they're in school and get experience before they graduate high school, which is so important. And then the second thing I just wanted to talk about tonight was the admissions data, which we've received for middle school and high school for the district. And this is going to come up later in the meeting when we discuss the resolution on the admissions process, but I'm just going to share my screen. This is the data. This is data from the enrollment office on the middle school placement for this current year. So this is all the kids starting middle school right now. This was the application results that happened in the process last year. And this spreadsheet on the left, it shows all the districts. And then it shows across the top the percentage of applicants that got either one of their top 3 choices, one of their top 5 choices, top 10 choices, or top 12 choices. And what's really concerning here is I've sorted this by the top 3 choices and the top 5 choices, worst to best. And District 20 had the worst placement rate of any district in the city. And if you look at the top 3 choices, what this is saying is that of all the applicants, 74% of our applicants got one of their top 3 choices. And you can see that citywide, the average was 91%. And then you can see that 84% of our applicants got one of their top 5 choices, and citywide, the average was 94%. And then I'm just going to flip over quickly. The high school data is also available. And I'm just going to try and share that if I can. And this is the high school data. And I've done the same thing here, and I've sorted it by sort of worst to best. And this one, District 20 is 8th worst. All of our high school applicants, 67% got one of their top 3 choices. And the city average was 74%. And 77% of our students got one of their top 5, and the city average was 83%. So I'm very interested in what can be done about this, and we need more data on. We have some suspicions as to why this shows up the way it is, but I definitely want to follow up with Dr. Preto and with the Office of District Planning and the DOE, because this means that our parents on average will be less satisfied with their middle school and high school placements than the average New York City parent. And we can't have that. There has to be some thinking about why these numbers are showing up this way and what can be done about it. And this is definitely something Dr. Preto mentioned, the schools that are opening, the capacity that's coming online, and something that I would love to have further conversations about going forward. Okay, those are my 2 just comments that I just wanted to share. I'm going to circle back now. Let's see if Councilmember Aviles is now on.
Yes,
Excellent, and we can hear you. So
can you hear me?
absolutely.
Great.
Please, the floor is
Thank
yours, Council.
Thank you.
You're breaking up a little now. You're breaking up now.
Thank you so much.
Council member, we can't hear you. It's breaking up. The connection's bad.
And apologies to everyone for the technology thing. All right, let me try. Let's give me 1 second. Well, can you hear me?
Right now, it's
okay. Good. Can you hear me?
Right now, it's good.
Okay, I will make this quick, unfortunately, but thank you, and apologies for all the technical glitches. You would think after 3 years, we would have figured this all out. So thank you, everyone. My name is Alexa Aviles. I'm the council member for District 38, which has the wonderful pleasure of having a portion of District 20 and a significant part of CEC 20 and a significant part of CEC 15. Representing the neighborhoods of Sunset Park and Red Hook and portions of Borough Park, Decker Heights, and Windsor Terrace. So just to say really quickly, welcome back, everyone. You have heard in the news, we are still fighting around city budgets. You may have heard that the City Council put forward a resolution asking the mayor to reinstate $469 million to the Department of Education budget. We are still very much at a standstill and have not heard back from the administration around full funding for the schools. That is still an ongoing process. As some of you know, there is litigation that is being heard that will be heard probably at the end of the month around a procedural aspect that the litigants claim Department of Education, the administration, did not follow appropriate procedure in the voting around the school budgets. So just so that you know, I continue to fight for full funding of our schools. We are continue to be in a pandemic and hopefully recovering and ensuring many of our schools had significant cuts and at a precarious stage, in our children's lives, in our lives, in New York City's time. We felt like this was not the way to go. Our city did have a surplus, and we felt fully investing in our children's education is what we should be doing currently right now. So I'm happy to take any questions around that directly. I unfortunately don't have a lot of time, but happy to talk with any parents here. And then lastly, I just wanted to say quickly, I understand that tonight you will be looking at a resolution on a proposal asking to reinstate screens for middle schools and high schools. And I must say, for the record, that I was deeply disturbed to see this resolution. Obviously, Mr. Stowe began to point out some early data. And I would just implore this council to really dig into the data to find out, because I 100% agree that our families should be satisfied with a quality, and all children get a quality education, right? And so I will be fighting for our families, but I really feel this resolution is deeply misplaced and misguided, and really goes back to some truly failed tactics of the past that have been proven over and over again to be very discriminatory and ultimately not to be helpful. So I just want to implore this body to really think about moving forward and really think about what is the full quality education look for all children, and not perpetuate systems that segregate children into deserving or undeserving, or perpetuating fallacies of because you work so hard, or just, the most excellent students only deserve, gifts. All children are gifted in different ways. And the challenge for our system and us as a society is to meet those children where they are, and to compel and conjure and bring all the brilliance that they have to offer to bear. And that is the challenge that we all have, and we should be compelling. So I would strongly urge the parents to vote no on this resolution and to really look deeply into the data, and let's find a way that we can ensure that we are promoting quality, equitable education for all children, no matter if you know how to game the system, no matter if you have English as a second language, no matter what the issue is. And I'd be happy to work with any and all parents to explore it deeply. Where we have seen the removal of screens, we've seen many positive gains in many areas. So I just want to really encourage you to not vote on this resolution, to get the full data, and to engage in robust conversations with the parents across the district to make sure we continue to move in the right direction of equitable, inclusive education for all children. And Dr. Preto said it best, all children, not just a few, not some who are deserving. They all deserve quality education. So with that, I wish I could stay to answer questions, but I will be available. You can call my office, District 38 at council.nyc.gov. Our office is 718-439-9012. And with that, I'll leave you to your incredible business tonight, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Council Member, for being here. We really appreciate it. And you've been here several times, and every time we love having you. So please, anytime.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Yep, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. The next order of business is a procedural matter. We just need to introduce last meeting, sort of for 2 meetings now, we've been reforming the CEC bylaws, and the majority of that is done. There is one minor sort of cleanup modification we need to make, and the procedure for any change to the bylaws is you have to introduce it at one meeting, wait a month, and then approve it at the next meeting. So we're just introducing one procedural change. This is a line that we in the bylaws that we looked at last time, we had a discussion about should our meetings required to be held in facilities accessible to the disabled? What are the pros and cons of that? At the meeting last month, we discussed how there's many schools in District 20 that are not officially accessible to the disabled. There's a DOE list, and I haven't done all of it, but it looks like at least half are not. And so we were just discussing about how in an environment where there's now hybrid meetings and everything is online, and also the state law says public bodies should try to meet in facilities that are accessible to the disabled, like this one, PS 30 is, but state law doesn't hold to that standard. And so we just felt it was appropriate to merge our bylaws with state law and give us the flexibility. And so this line was still in there. There was another reference that we removed. And so, and I also want to remove this line because that says schools throughout the district, and we might also at times have meetings in other facilities as well. So that's the proposed change to the CEC bylaws. We're just introducing it at this meeting. And this will kick off a 30-day comment period from members of the public. If you'd like to comment, any members of the public on this proposed reform, you can contact us at the CEC email. Steve Weiser, could you put that in the chat, the CEC email? And then at the meeting in October, we will vote on this change. So that is done. And now we have our public speaking session. So bear with me while I get my bearings here. I think first we will start with anyone in the room. Can someone just hand me the speaking list? Was anyone signed up in the room to speak? And just a reminder, if you're online, there's a speaker sign up form that is being posted in the chat if you'd like to sign up. Great. And for speakers, we will have anyone in the room who would like to speak. There's a microphone at the front podium here. Just a reminder, there is a 3-minute time limit for speakers. And any other procedural notes on speaking? I don't think so. Our first public speaker of the night in attendance, Maria Garcia. Are you here, Maria?
Thank you so much, Dr. Prado. Thank you so much, CEC. I'm here to speak regarding the resolution that we are speaking about regarding the schools and schools. On December 20th, 2021, the CEC passed a resolution to advocate for MS 936 middle schools to become screen schools. And the DOE then quickly adopted that recommendation. Not taking into consideration the voice of the community, and they do not represent all the wishes of the majority of the Sunset Park community that is affected by that change. We petitioned with over 800 signatures regarding requests to stop that at that time. Dr. Prado did meet Dr. Prado at our meeting showed declining numbers of students of color and marginalized groups. So we are already beginning to see a trend. When we had that community meeting, CEC members said that they were not aware of the opposition and the issues that were being raised by the community. And so I thought it was important for me to come here today and speak so that we are all aware regarding the issues. I have an 11-year-old that is newly starting middle school, and he did not know what he wanted to do, where he wanted to go. He has no particular passion. He's a good student, but spends his days playing football and basketball. And I think that there's enormous pressure to put on children to have them auditioning and taking tests and thinking that the fourth grade state test will determine their whole entire future. My son is attending a B20 middle school, and he was placed in an honors class, and it seems like a great school. They seem to be managing to offer good academic programs, art programs, music programs, theater programs, and it seems a robust opportunity of choices for all students. As a parent and an educator, we know that talent and knowledge and resilience and strength need to be cultivated in elementary school and in middle school and in high school. And that's what our children in B20 deserve. I ask the CEC not to pass this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next in-person speaker is Susan Zhang.
Thank you for the CEC members. You guys did a great job. My name is Susan Duong. I'm a parent in District 20, and also I'm chief staff for Assemblyman William Colton. I want to say thank you guys as a parent, also for Assemblyman William Colton. You guys did a great job, and also Assemblyman Colton is fighting for the school budget this year. They received $6 million for the city this year to for the review side. This issue has been here in New York City. The budget is there. Hopefully that will be go to reach the school very soon. And also, city had cut the budget in June, and we had a petition to the city. Now, the city council has a resolution. Hopefully, city mayor will hear that and then increase the budget for your city schools. Also, Assemblyman Colton also organized Unite Harvard School Scholarship graduate student Jane Chen come to our district to do a workshop for students, most for high school students want to apply college. Give them some instructions on September 24th. There's a free workshop at 29 Bay 25th Street. It will start 1 o'clock, 1 to 2:30 for high school students. And also there's another workshop at 3 o'clock for 3 o'clock to 4:30. That's for how to read and write for students older than 4th grade. Start with 4th grade probably. That's for the parents are very interested. And also for September 25th, there's a one-to-one section for help some students apply college. The person we invite Jane to have a graduate, and she helped 100 students apply to the school. She also, I shouldn't say publicly, she's been interviewer for some every school. So she has experience, you know, what college is looking for, so she will become a fit, anyone need it. And then you can contact our office, get more information at 718-236-1598. My number again, 718-236-1598. You can call our office, ask for Susan. I will answer all the questions about the workshop. Thank you.
Is it on your website, right?
No, I have the information I can email to you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Michelle Magnus.
Hello, everyone. Nerve wracking. I'm usually doing this on a screen. Okay. Hello, I'm Michelle. So for the last 2 years, I've been listening to the meetings, so it's a little different in person, but with my quick notes, based on today's meeting. So I've heard this vote from council members before, and I've heard it from the public. So here's my opinion. My opinion. The idea to hold back children from accelerating is not creating equity. If we are looking to create equity, this is not the right way. We should rather encourage all kids to strive for more while providing resources like tutoring for children who are struggling. Lowering the standards does not create equity. It prevents our children from achieving more. Just like we help kids who need academic support, we should also provide support for academically accelerated children. I actually vote for, not that my vote matters, but for the resolution, because I just don't think anybody should be held back from doing better in a society, and we're competing with other countries, and their kids are progressing, they're teaching more science and math. We're looking to hold back kids just so we can create equity. I don't think that's the solution. I think creating equity is about providing resources for every different child who needs it, whether it's tutors, whether it's an accelerated program. We don't have to have one or the other. I think we could have both. And the DOE has plenty of money, and the city does, to do that. So I don't think parents can fight over that. I've said that once before. Now, in regards to Dr. Credo, just curious, what does this STEM program look like? What grades, what schools are going to be doing it, what cost and when and where they're doing it? Is it in school, after school? Just a little curious, because I'm a big proponent for more sciences in the school. As actually I'm currently on the PTA this year for my daughter's school and my son's school, and I love more STEM programs. And who's paying for it, like all that information, and how are schools going to be receiving the support for these phonics programs that the chancellor is rolling out? And what do these programs actually look like? I always hear that they're doing things, but then I don't really hear what the programs they're using, the names of them, who's using them. There's a lot of kids who need support and they're not really getting it. And like this dyslexic, I know I'm just rolling it out slowly, but there's a lot of kids who are suffering now. And how are we going to support them while they're rolling out their new programs? I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's it for the in-person speakers. So can we go to the online, to the virtual attendees? Steve Weiser, are there any individuals signed up online to speak?
I don't have access to the back end. If you want to send it to me, we could see if interpreters have anyone.
Actually, never mind. I've got it right here, Steve. I've got him right here. I can call him. Yep. So the first online speaker, Donovan Swanson.
Hi, good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Donovan Swanson. I represent Brooklyn Borough Hall. I'm our education policy analyst, so I'll be dealing with everything education-based for Borough Hall. I just wanted to let CECs know that I'm representing our office. I will be attending as many meetings as I can. The goal of being at least at 2 CEC meetings for all districts, so you guys can plan on seeing my face again. I've already met with our CEC appointee, Kevin, so if there's anything that you want to raise to Borough Hall, you can also connect Kevin to us. Before I leave today, I will be putting my work cell number in the chat as well. I want us to have ongoing conversations that includes the superintendent's office as well as parents, PTAs, PAs, and we do also hope to be going around the district and visiting schools. As well, I'm not the BP, so I won't necessarily lean into some of the resolutions you are voting on, but I will say that our office has a high priority in regards to equity. So please, parents, when considering whatever your vote is, that it is, again, based off of an equitable decision. And I defer to, again, families, and we support the communities in that decision making. There will be the opportunity to partner with our office. Our goal is to get as many youngsters to Borough Hall as well. we have a high priority for civic engagement. And so, Superintendent, I will definitely be reaching out to you. I already sent an email while you were speaking, but I do also hope that we can connect specifically with regards to your civic initiatives, as well as we have a high focus on literacy, restorative justice work, and things like that. So our office welcomes any and all partners. That includes any providers that might be attending tonight's CEC meeting. And other than that, again, Brooklyn Borough Hall stands as an ally in supporting of all school districts, and we really hope to, again, bring equity into the conversation whenever possible and expand opportunities to all scholars. So again, I just wanted to general introductions, and please feel free to reach out to our office. Again, I will be putting my information in the chat as well for families.
Great, thank you so much. It's great to meet you, Donovan, and look forward to continued partnership.
I do want to add, Stephen, that we will be reaching out specifically to you as CEC president to be having you have some FaceTime directly with the BP in the next couple weeks.
That sounds great. Thanks. Just making sure we can get the best audio visual that we can here. So the next speaker is someone who registered online as BKNER. I'm just going to look and see if I see anyone by that name in the meeting room. If anyone else sees anyone in the room in the participant list, BKNER, I'm not seeing them right now. Okay, so we're just going to skip that speaker. Next speaker is Chen Kwok. And I am just going to see if I see Chen in the room. I also do not see Chen in the room. Next speaker is BK Parent. Do we see BK Parent online? If anyone does see, please let me know. I don't see BK Parent either. Yeah, and as Steve Weiser just pointed out, if you can hear your name and we haven't seen you, please raise your hand and we can recognize you. I will now, Gina, J-I-N-A. Do we see Gina online? If someone has signed up using the Google form with the name Gina, J-I-N-A, can you raise your hand, please? Okay. There's now a name, Lux, U-E-R-O-N-G. I don't see that speaker either. This is going by very quickly. Tracy, is there a Tracy online? I don't see Tracy on there either. Yatin Chu, Yatin. We will go to you. I think I saw Yatin join. Yatin, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at CEC 20. I am a resident in District 20, and I want to share my support to reinstate screened admissions to both middle schools and high schools. I work with parents across the city, particularly in Queens and in Brooklyn, with the Asian community. And there has been a lot of discussion, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anguish that I hear from parents over what happened in the last school year, where middle school went to straight lottery and high school was basically a lottery. Many news articles have been written about this. There has been rallies and there are ongoing petitions to oppose the continuation of lotteries. Families don't want it. Students think it's very, very unfair. And I really would urge CEC 20 to support the reinstatement of middle and high school screen admissions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have a speaker, Lily. I'm not, oh, no. Yeah, I don't see a Lily signed up online. There was a speaker who inquired in the chat as to whether now is the time to comment on resolutions. And the answer is yes, now is the time. So if that speaker can hear me and can unmute themselves, they can have some time to speak now. I think it was Al S, if I'm not mistaken. Al S, can you hear me?
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Hey, good. The floor is yours.
This is Al Suhu from CEC 26.
Hey, Al, nice to have you here.
Yeah, so I heard the council member of Avila speak against screens. So I just want to say that, like Yatin and a lot of people across the city, we support the resolution on reinstating screens. And if the parent community in District 20 supports this, you should pass the resolution regardless of what the council members' views are. So that's all I want to say. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm just going to refresh the speaker sign-up sheet here. What's that, Jen? Okay, got it. Is BK Parent in the room? BK Parent, can you hear me? And did you sign up online? If you've signed up online to speak, BK Parent, you can speak now. Yeah, I had asked when you, anyway. And while we're waiting for the form to refresh, just to the interpreters, are there any questions on the language lines at this time, or comments? Anyone who wants to comment on the language lines?
No questions on the Arabic line.
Anything on the Spanish line?
No questions on the Spanish line, sorry.
Okay, or Mandarin? Yeah, I'll get him in a sec.
No questions for Mandarin line.
Okay, great. And then in the chat, Vincent Liu would like to speak. Vincent, if you can unmute yourself, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Steven. Sorry that I just signed up through the Google chat, so you may not get my name there. And thank you for allowing me to speak. This is Vincent Liu. I'm a current council member of CEC 15. So we are right next to each other in terms of district line, right? So I want to speak to support the reinstate of merit-based admission process. Some call it screen. Right? D15 started at lottery-based admission process. What I have seen was admission has been dropped tremendously. Some people might blame the pandemic, but if you look at the data, it actually started it before pandemic. That's for first reasons. Second reasons, it's penalized our hardworking students. It's discouraging our students to work hard. And a third reason is that if you look at the most recent high school data, it's telling us that there are nearly 300 more unmatched students under the current lottery system, 300 more unmatched students than the previous year when there were actually more applications. And also it's discriminating against Asian populations because Asian students had like 30% couldn't get any of the top 5 choices as compared with 10 or 11% for Black and Hispanic. That's the main 3 reasons why I support the reinstate of the merit-based admission process. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I see we have another speaker signed up online, Yesenia Plasencia.
Yes, hello. I am a parent, and I did want to speak also towards the screening for middle schools and high schools. I have to say that I really hope that the members, the CEC, really think about, again, diversity and inclusion. I do have a middle school student that was able to take advantage of the non-screening due to her high grades, but she is very poor on test taking. And so that allowed her to be placed in a grade school without giving her the anxiety or putting the pressure on her for me to put her through taking practice tests and putting her, paying other means for her to actually get her grades up for these tests or even know how to take these tests. I just think it's biased. I also feel like it's hypocritical, right? All means all. Not all means only the ones that score high or the ones that, have the opportunity to pay a tutor or have the experience or even the means to be able to have time where parents can take out the time to take them to get these tutors done or get these tests done. I feel like schools should be available for everyone. And it shouldn't be based on tests. There's a lot of different family dynamics. A lot of blue collar families have to work longer hours. They don't have the time that other parents might to dedicate, or they might not even be, have the opportunity to have been educated or have the opportunity to know what it is to take a screening test. I mean, I never did as a New York City student. I never knew what it was to take a screening or that I could even have that opportunity. I was never given that because of my socioeconomic status and my family. So really think about, what you're going to vote on. Think about, I feel like it's redlining again. And it's history repeating itself over and over, excluding families based on race and socioeconomic status. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I don't see any more speakers signed up on the Google form, and I believe we've come to the end of the speakers in the chat. I see one more speaker, one more individual who would like to speak in the chat. Effie Zachary, if you are able to unmute, you can go ahead and speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, just John. We're talking about the admissions, right?
Yeah. Yes, you can speak about any topic.
Okay, I don't want to be off topic. I'm sorry. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm from the CCHS, that is the Citywide Council on High Schools. I'm usually not here, but I would like to. And the reason I'm usually not here is because we typically have our meetings exactly the same time you guys do. It just happened that this week we moved our meeting, so I'm taking advantage of the opportunity to come and visit you guys. We are here to our council is to serve the high school students and their families. So please feel free to contact us. Regarding the admissions, I would like to say I'm hearing a lot that schools should be available to all parents and shouldn't be excluded to all students and shouldn't be exclusive and stuff like that. When we're talking about the high school screening, it is not that all high schools are screened. I think it's only 14 or 15% of schools that are screened or programs that are screened. And then 80-something% of all seats are available to everybody. It's only certain programs that if they're not screened, it doesn't make sense to even have the program. If you have a robotics program that requires high level of mathematics, and then they expected to do programming in it, and then anybody, even a student that's 3 years behind in math, can get into the program, it kind of defeats the purpose of having the program. So there is some logic to having screens to identify the students who can get in. Of course, there are some cases, I mean, the methods of identification are not perfect. Some students indeed might be very good, but not score necessarily very high on certain tests. It's not a perfect measure, but we need some method, and maybe that's what we should talk about. What is the appropriate method, or what's the way to improve the methodology of getting into a certain program? But to kind of not let students an opportunity to aggregate by programs makes it very tough to run things efficiently in the city. I've seen this last year where a lot of students who are struggling got into some of the highest, most vigorous academic programs in the school. And I'm hearing right now that even though school just started, some of them are struggling. If you got into a top school and you are 3 years behind, that's not a good feeling. You know, it's very hard to catch up that much, even if you try hard. So it's not fair to the student who's struggling to be put into a very rigorous program that is a bit beyond their ability to handle. And on the other hand, it's also not so fair to someone who worked very hard and could easily handle the program not to get into the program because they got a bad lottery number last year and didn't get, and we heard many people who didn't get any of their tests. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you. And I see one more speaker, and then one more speaker on the Google form. Yifang Chen. Yifang, if you can hear me and unmute yourself. Don't know if I see Yifang in the room at this point. Okay. Nope, there's just entered. Yifang, are you there and can you hear me? And can you unmute yourself? Give it a second here, and if not, we'll just move on.
Oh, Steve, do I have the right to unmute?
Yes, you're good. Go ahead, Yifang, you can speak.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, this is District 20, right? People like immigrants and everyday, your everyday New York City parents flock to the district because it has really good middle school. It has 187 Crystal McAuliffe. I've heard and I've known people who moved away from the district because last year it was lottery, the year before it was pandemics. I just don't know what the district will become if, this lottery gonna kick in again this year. Like I myself, I have 3 kids in public school. It's really sad to see, what was going on, like using lottery instead of screaming for all these great schools. And like I myself might have to really have to look into, other options such as moving or, go for other schools. And, like since the semester started last week, my son's classmate, they were like a third of them that's left in a GNT class in PS 102. I mean, they moved to Florida, they moved to Long Island. I mean, people indeed vote with their feet. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it for public speaking. So the first resolution that we'll be discussing as a council and voting on has to do with COVID-19 mandates. Steve, thank you. Steve Weezer is going to share the text of that resolution. Gada, can you hear me? And did you want to introduce this one and just share any comments?
Yeah, hi, yes, Stephen. I would like to talk about COVID mandate. As I'm not vaccinated, so I wasn't able to come and meet to CEC meeting tonight. Actually, I see this is weird because the DOE talking about acceptance, everyone, and the viewpoints, and now they are not. There is no more mask, or it's not mandate, and the COVID-19. It doesn't matter if you are vaccinated or no. So why they keep that? I had that are the people that are not vaccinated are not allowed to go inside. I see. I think it's. What's the point for this? I can't understand it, because all the people vaccinated or not vaccinated is not working anymore. So why they keep this as a law? Why we are not able to go inside the schools? However, we are not affected to other. It's the same. If I am vaccinated and I have a COVID, I can make it to other have COVID too. And if I'm not vaccinated, it's okay, the same thing. I hope that.
Yeah, well said, Gada. Anything else?
I wish if they're gonna to cancel all the leases and stop that this law.
Gada, do you want?
If I think if I agree with a resolution for this. If they want that, if to accept, if they wanted some ones that are not vaccinated to be able to go inside with, if they want like to do like PCR or something like this. However, now in the school there is no more a PCR for the kids, the students, and there is no more. There is no more health screen, which was really, it's not working too. So why we can do, if they wanted to accept, like we can do like PCR before allowed to us to go inside the school if it's work with them, or we can do like health screen if they want. And I see there is many activated which is high risk to for COVID-19, like they are doing like sports, the kids doing activities so they can have COVID-19. However, that's the DOE keep doing this. So why? What's the problem to have? Make the people go inside. Unvaccinated is not gonna be too much danger or high risk.
Great, thanks, Gada. Gada, is that all for now?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you too.
Jen, did you just want to make a comment on the resolution?
You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. I actually don't agree that the vaccines and maskings policies don't work. I think that they are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Herd immunity has only been reached because enough people were either infected and survived, or enough people were or people were vaccinated. So COVID vaccines actually do not lose effectiveness over time, so much as new variants are introduced. And that's why new boosters are introduced. It's kind of like the flu vaccine. You get a new flu vaccine every year because the virus mutates on a very quick, turnaround. So the scientists try to predict which variant is going to be the most common to hit the US that year. And that is a vaccine that they develop to inoculate us for that year. And even if you get COVID while having gotten the vaccine, it has been shown to reduce the severity of symptoms as well as the length of time that you are sick, and it can reduce your risk of dying from it. I really don't think that should be forgotten. And masking has been proven to prevent the risk of disease transmission. Just imagine somebody coughing or sneezing. Do you really want that person sitting next to you without a mask on? It doesn't matter what they have, right? That's something that I think that needs to be taken into account. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Jen. I'll just make a quick comment on this resolution. One of the key things I think about it is that it's you have this requirement for children, students who are participating in after-school activities deemed high risk. And this can include a lot of sports. It can include performing arts, certain band and choral activities. And you have this requirement that all kids, in order to participate, have to have the vaccine. And you also, that sort of flies in the face of the day-to-day situation in schools where kids are now in school, participating in gym, participating in music class, doing some of the same activities they would in school that they would be doing after school. And yet there's an inconsistency there with you're requiring the vaccine for one, but not for the other. This resolution is titled calling for the DOE to make the COVID-19 protocols better amended to better reflect state and federal guidance. And really, this is almost, I feel like this resolution is almost late, because I feel like with what's happened come down from the CDC down to Monday with ending the state of emergency in New York State, I feel like the recommendations in here, maybe in a matter of weeks, aren't even going to be that controversial anymore. I think the key phrasing that the CDC has used is moving toward, acknowledging that COVID is here to stay and moving toward mitigation strategies as opposed to prevention and elimination. And I think when we're talking about, mandating children get a vaccine to participate in after-school activities, or mandating that kids quarantine, or mandating that kids wear masks, that's still in the old mindset of, trying to eliminate this virus, which frankly, it's just not realistic. And there's lots of viruses out there. We all do the best for ourselves, take care of our health. Nothing in this resolution, there's a key clause at the end that says nothing in this resolution is meant to discourage anyone from wearing a mask or taking any other precautionary measures that they want. But what this resolution really just calls for is ending the mandates that exclude parents who are unvaccinated, like one of our council members, Gada Amin, ending the exclusion for children to be able to participate in after-school activities. And also it calls for the employees, teachers and staff to end the requirement that teachers and staff are vaccinated. Obviously, these are things that should be encouraged. It's good public health. But this is frankly, we think we need to move more in line with state and federal guidance and accept that COVID-19 is here to stay. And it's about mitigation, not elimination. Any other council? Yes, go ahead, Marie.
My comments on this resolution are, you know, I personally am vaccinated and boosted. My children are vaccinated, but I do think that there's some guidelines that just, you know, really don't make sense, because if students are not required to be vaccinated, then it has to be in line. So basically, if the schools are not requiring students to be vaccinated, then why is there a requirement for parents there? I just really don't see the reason. And therefore, you know, I'm supporting this resolution.
Thanks, Marie. Any other council members like to speak on the resolution? Okay. In that case, let's move to a vote on this resolution. The resolution requesting NYC DOE COVID-19 protocols be amended to better reflect state and federal guidance. And since our recording secretary is not here, I will do the roll call vote. So members will be asked to approve the resolution, yes or no. Good, we're good to go, right? Steve Stowe, President, yes. Jennifer Hugh, First Vice President.
No.
Elizabeth Chan, Second Vice President.
I vote yes.
Marie Bugaris, Treasurer.
Yes.
Kevin Zhao.
Yes.
Liping Zhang.
Yes.
Joyce Shi.
Yes.
Maya Rosa. Gada Ahmed.
Yes.
Is Gada there? Is she still on? Sometimes she gets.
I heard her say yes.
She said yes.
Yes. I said yes.
Okay, so the resolution passes with 8 yes, 1 no. Okay. So the next resolution up for discussion is calling for reform of middle school and high school admissions. And there were comments and modifications made to this resolution within the last 24 hours. And so in line with our bylaws, we need to first vote to add this resolution to the agenda. And so the resolution has been shared on the screen. The modifications that have been made in the last 24 hours are shown in red. It's modifying a version that was earlier provided. So the first vote here is just to add this to the agenda, and this will be the resolution for discussion and ultimate vote. So I will do a roll call vote on that. So to add this to the agenda in this form, Steve Stowe, President, I vote yes. Jen Hugh, First Vice President. Elizabeth Chan, Second Vice
Yes.
President. Thank you. Marie Bugaris, Treasurer. Kevin. Liping.
Yes.
Joyce. Maya. Gada.
Yes.
Anyone hear Gada?
Yes.
She's, wonder why I can't hear her. Okay. Is mine not? Yeah. Okay, so on this resolution, you know, this is, I'm just going to say a few words about what this resolution is and what it's not. This resolution is allowing schools and learning communities to serve parents and their communities. This resolution is not excluding anyone. This resolution calls for maintaining diversity of choices, and in so doing, will maintain diversity in our school system. One thing that's very interesting, and I'd just like to start with, I think we're all aware of the changes that have been made the last couple of years. I don't need to go through that. But one thing that's very interesting is there's frequently cited commentary about how New York City and its public school system is the most segregated in the country. And what I think is unfair about that criticism to some extent is that when you consider New York City against almost every other large urban school system in this country, as a whole, it's much more diverse. And Steve, if you could just scroll to the end of to the appendix here, you know, to even have a conversation about sort of segregated school systems because of certain policies, you have to first step and look back and say, are families willing to send their kids to the public school system? And if we just want to talk about, you know, oftentimes segregation is talked about in the context of race. And so what I've done here is just show the different racial groupings for all of the largest school systems, urban school systems in the country. And you can see that New York City over the last several decades has been very successful at bringing in of these four major groups, and we know there's many, many more. So this is really a sort of a disservice to the total diversity that's out there. But if you just look at the four largely reported groups, you can see that New York City is actually very diverse compared to Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Houston. For example, the population of Houston, the city's population is 50% white, but 10% of the school students are white. That is not a dynamic we have here, but it's changing. And that's something that this resolution really tries to speak to, is ask what's going on with the city, what's happened the last 20 years, if you look at it in the context of history. Steve, can you scroll back to the top, please? What this resolution essentially asks is, under the prior administration, there was a real focus on making changes to academic policies that would try to achieve a target you know, socioeconomic and sort of race-based equity goals. What this resolution tries to do and asks for is a more balanced approach, whereby this city recognizes that there's diversity in the different ideas about education that exist in this city. And you've heard that expressed here tonight. You've heard speakers on both sides. And to say that we should set up a system that excludes either one of those, I believe, is wrong. The fact is, over the last prior administration, one side was very much excluded, and that was the side that favored academic screens. So what this resolution is asking, and I believe it's in line with the current administration, which has adopted a much more balanced approach to sort of targeting their policies. There's a section in here where we talk about the current administration. Chancellor Banks has said he definitely supports you know, racial equity and socioeconomic equity, but perhaps it's not the first priority all parents look to. I think it's very well understood that there are parts of the city that don't necessarily want to send their kids across the district just to get to a school that achieves a certain mix of students. And then on the matter of screens themselves, yes, it's definitely something that rewards, you know, students who are at a certain level of academic readiness, whether that's by nature or nurture. All of those reasons can factor in. But this is a school system with resources. This is a school system that is focused on, has stated focus on focusing on every child. We know there are test prep and free tutoring resources out there that have not been used in the past. And so again, this is a challenge, but we can't set the system up so that a certain group of parents and families and communities are intentionally excluded in the name of one priority. There has to be an effort made to reach all of our communities and understand what all of our communities are asking for. I just want to go down, if Steve, can you scroll down a little bit? I talked earlier about the application data in middle school and high school in District 20, how District 20 has received some of the worst placement rates for high school and middle school admissions. When you look at the demographic breakout of that, our Asian families had even worse placement for high school. The top 3 placements for Asian families in District 20 was 57%. The city average was 74%. District 20's average was 67%. That's not acceptable. And I've asked for the data on middle school as well. I expect it will be the same. So this really, you know, our district is 45% Asian families. And this really drives a lot of the recommendations in this resolution. Steve, can you scroll to the end, please? And this, the final, one final point in the whereas clauses is Our district lost 8% of its students last year, K through 12. Data from the Office of District Planning shows that the majority of this decline is families leaving the city entirely. The rate in District 20 is accelerating. It's actually grown at a more rapid rate last year. And this is in the first year of back to in-person learning, keep in mind. So that shows you it's not entirely about the pandemic anymore. So the recommendations in this resolution are as follows. What we really want is the end to this practice that was under the de Blasio administration of having a single specific enrollment policy for all middle schools and high schools across the city. Prior to the de Blasio administration, there was a lot more flexibility for high schools and middle schools to create their own application processes. We want to end the mandated use of lottery-based admissions in middle schools and high schools. That should not be the way that our schools are choosing, especially schools that want to focus on accelerated learning and academically advanced students. It should not be up to a lottery as to whether you get in or not. We want to end the suspension of academic screens. And like I just said, we want to allow middle schools and high schools to use their own admissions policies. And within a given district, within the city, that can be anything from academically screened schools to diversity and admissions initiatives to lottery-based admissions if some schools want to maintain those. But we would ask that this is where it becomes the responsibility of the city and the districts working together with their communities to make sure that all needs are being met. And in particular, the recommendations for District 20 in here are in districts where there's a low placement rate for your top 5 schools, find out why and do something about it. And for example, the city just recently announced additional programming at the High School for Language and Diplomacy in Manhattan because a number of families were not happy with their placements in Manhattan. That's a recommendation we would like to see followed through on if there are situations where, like ours, where you have a large percentage of families that are not happy or get poor placements. And finally, the final point in here is just in line with Mayor Adams' stated initiative, build more specialized high schools in each borough. We hope you would consider South Brooklyn. We believe this is actually going to increase the number of options to parents in the city and in District 20, resulting in more families feeling like there's a place for them in the city and in the city school district. Thank you. Those are my comments on this resolution. Any other council members want to speak about this resolution? Go ahead, Jen.
Steve, I'd like to first thank you for adding including Asians in the resolution as you can see in red. This was actually quite shocking to me to learn that this current system has disadvantaged the Asian community so much. I really don't personally agree with the lottery-based system as an admissions policy. However, I can't ignore the fact that there are so many Black and Brown students that feel and are unable to get into some of these quality schools and programs. I don't think tearing down the academic standards in order to elevate somebody else is the right solution. I think really what this really means is there are not enough specialized schools and G&T programs for every child that qualifies for it. And ideally, the city would be expanding the number of seats for every child that deserves it. I don't think that the Asian community should be torn down. And I feel like the numbers show that they have been disadvantaged this past year due to the lottery-based system. I don't know why that is. Maybe there will be some statistics or an analysis of it later on, but at this point, it doesn't really look good. And I can't stand with the lottery-based system at this point.
Thank you,
Thank
Jen. Yeah, I don't know who was first. Kevin, I saw Kevin's hand first. Is that okay, Maya? Sorry. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Jennifer said. When what do I say? 1 second. So it's the lottery I'm against it because of one simple reason, actually. Because when I talk to parents, there are multiple parents told me that their kids are allocated to school, which requires an hour of commute one way. So, I mean, for a middle schooler, for the high schooler, this is just basically not acceptable. On the other hand, when I talked to my daughter, I mean, I'm from China. I took her back to China. I mean, I didn't take her to say how great China it is. I took her to the school over there, to tell her that that's the kid, that's how they study right today. And that's the kid one day you are going to compete with. We are not competing with other kids over here, but we are going to compete with kids over there as well. It's a global village now. There's no way we can avoid that. And it does not take that long for the kid to become college to come America. Actually, there are a lot of high school foreign students in our country today from there. They speak fluent English as my daughter. I mean, they are high school, graduate from their middle school and come here, but they can speak fluent English already. Their math is on our integrate math 2, 3, and above. And from my personal experience, when I come here, I didn't finish my middle school in China. I only finished second grade in middle school in China. But when I come to the United States, I basically, in my high school, I skipped the third year of the middle school, which is basically the 8th grade, and I jumped to the 9th grade directly. But still, from 9th to 12th, I didn't know anything besides English, because everything else I already learned already over there. I'm not saying the education in China is perfect, because I do see a lot of problems with my colleague. They are not creative enough. They do have a lot of problems on the other end. But I know as a basic and fundamental education, they are much more solid than us. And on the other hand, right now, we are trying to pulling down our special education, say, oh, they are too advanced. When you give equal opportunity to everybody else, let's pull them down, pull down them from the ladder so we are unequal. But that's not the way it is, because we are troubling our younger generation, basically. Like Jennifer said, we want us to be equally good. We need to expand the special education program to make our education quality higher, rather than say, oh, we focus on this, let's get everybody on the equal ground, same ground. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Maya. Steve, can you hear Maya now?
No, I can't. It's weird, she's unmuted though.
Should I?
Why don't you try talking now?
Okay, should I? Thank you. Thanks. So as we keep repeating that Brooklyn is where many people, many immigrants start. This is where low-income immigrants do get hope for good education for their kids. So a lot of them understand that America is where the merit is important. So these immigrants spend last penny on education. They spend time on training kids to be good at testing, making sure they do homework, making sure the grades are good. So we come with this notion, and then my personal feeling is that removing screening and removing merit is ultimately working against low-income immigrants as any community, any color, because they cannot afford alternative private education. They cannot afford Catholic schools that also are, or any religious schools, because they're actually private schools. So the absence of screening and removing of merit, I think it's ultimately, I consider anti-immigrant. Thank you.
Thanks, Maya. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Listening to a lot of people that was talking, I feel like they're trying to say that we have like assumptions and bias against this CEC. Like they think that we want to exclude people. And, you know, there's a wrong assumption that Asians like are just represented by East Asians. But, you know, Asians, we got the Southeast Asian, the Filipinos, the Indians. I mean, we have a large spectrum. And I also feel like a lot of people, when they were speaking, saying about how parents know how to game the system, like they're trying to refer to East Asian parents. And another thing, some people said that, like, they always exclude Asians as people of color and people not part of a marginalized community. My parents came here as immigrants, and they had to work hard and try to put me in a nice neighborhood to learn, you know, go to a good community. So it's not everybody could afford tutoring, and everybody has the means to tutoring. But the students that do work hard, I feel like they should be rewarded to go to the school that they wanted to go to, because I've spoken to a lot of valedictorians, salutatorians, and they didn't get into the schools that they wanted, and they were upset. And, you know, not all Asians, you know, we're not robots. We can't get good grades. Some of us had to be nurtured. Like my son is all twos. So I know he's not going to get into a specialized program or the school he wants. But I'm also don't want to penalize the students that do work hard. And it's like pitting Asians against Blacks and Hispanics. And I just feel like the way some people talk is very racist against Asians now. So I just feel like we should not penalize hardworking students. We should reward them, because, you know, even in sports, you can't, if you wanted to join in sports, you have to work hard. And not a kid that cannot make it into the sports team is not gonna, they're not gonna put them in. You're gonna have to work, you're gonna put in those hours. And a lot of Asian students and a lot of students that make it into the G&T programs or the specialized schools, they work hard. They're not robots that, you know, they automatically are A students. So that's just what I wanted to say.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Marie, you're up next.
I agree with all the council members, and I would just like to, you know, add something for screening. New York City is very generous with students that need extra help, students that have issues such as, you know, autism and learning disabilities. In fact, the city of New York goes as far as pay private school tuitions for some children whose parents, you know, fight the fight and say that their children are not served by the public school system. And I know several such parents. And when a child comes in, you know, to, I guess, an agency that screens them for disabilities, that child is screened very, very rigorously. And then resources that are extremely, I mean, those resources are numerous, get allocated to this child that gets screened. And it is, you know, these resources are enormous. I think part of the reason for why New York City has such a, you know, high per student spending is because there are lots of students with disabilities that get extremely generous benefits. they get paraprofessionals, they get a lot of support. And I very much welcome that. And I just don't understand why, you know, people believe that by screening out those students that need to be on a higher level academically is somehow racist. You know, should we say that screening District 75 students is somehow racist? I mean, I just really don't understand. I believe the argument is rather flawed. And I am, you know, I am an immigrant, came here in '89. I actually came here and I did not know about screened high schools and people around me. You know, I didn't speak English that well. I didn't go to a screened high school. I went to Fort Hamilton, you know, neighborhood high school, et cetera. And, you know, eventually ended up with an advanced degree at University of Chicago. But all of that is to say that hard work should be rewarded. And I think we screen for disabilities. Well, I think we should screen for advancement as well. So that's why I support this resolution. And I'm, you know, a parent of 2 children who are half Hispanic, and their father, my husband, was the first person to go to college in his, you know, whole family. And, you know, I believe that, as Maya said, the United States is still seen as the place of opportunity. And let's not take that away.
Thanks, Marie. Joyce?
Yeah, this is Joy. Yeah, I want to make a comment on this solution. The reason why I support this solution, I think to better the screening admission is provide quality from the better quality from the education. We try to all the parents or DOE, we want to provide better quality for all the kids. It doesn't mean better the screening is not equality. I think it's better for kids pick on the mentality. If you want better life or better school, you need a 5-way. That's a mentality building from the kids. Because not every single night you need a sitting there. So better you have very lucky. So it's without the hard working, you deserve it some reward. This is not the good. It's not a good sign. So that's why I have 3 kids. My 3 kids is sending to different school. One is in the gift talents, one is not. I think every kid, they deserve quality education, but they all unique. So the screaming, better the screaming, I think is suitable for kids. They will never get what's the need for them. It's more fit for them. So that's my comment. That's why I support this solution.
Thanks, Joyce. And just a reminder, we're past the point of public comments, and so we're not taking any more public comments. I think that does it for council members. Gada, I don't see anyone else's hand up. Gada, you didn't want to make any comments on this one? Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to take a vote on the resolution, or call for a roll call vote. We don't need to make a motion. So Steve, if you vote yes to approve the resolution, just say yes. Steve Stowe, President, I vote yes. Jen Hugh, first Vice President. Elizabeth Chan, second Vice President.
Yes.
Marie Brugueras, Treasurer.
Yes.
Kevin Zhao. Liping Zhang. Joyce Shi. Maya Rosenblatt. Gada Amin.
Yes. Yes. You
Gada,
hear
can
me?
you hear me?
I hear you. Yes, I hear you. I said yes.
Okay, thanks, Gada.
You're welcome.
So the resolution passes, 9 yes votes. And that brings us to the end of our calendar meeting. The next meeting will be, next calendar meeting, the business meeting will immediately follow this meeting. And so everyone is obviously welcome to stick around for that. The next calendar meeting will be October 12th. And we're going to hold it at PS 205. So mark your calendars. I'm now going to make a motion to adjourn the calendar meeting. Is there a second? All in favor of adjourning the calendar meeting? Aye. Any opposed? So calendar meeting is adjourned. We'll take 5-minute break and then just do the business meeting. That's okay. Thanks, everyone.